Unveiling Mothman's mystery. Mothman is one of America's most mysterious creatures, and many people have encountered it. Actually, it all began in 1966 when residents of Point Pleasant started reporting encounters with a massive, winged creature with glowing red eyes. And after the next few years, the fear spread like wildfire until it all ended in a shocking tragedy that still haunts the town still today. Get ready to hear the story of the Mothman, a mystery that mixes legend, fear, and one of the darkest moments in Appalachian history. Hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon to get regular updates. Let's dive in. The first encounter. On November 15th, 1966, everything changed in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Two young couples, Roger and Linda Scarberry, along with Steve and Mary Mallet, were out for a late-night drive near an abandoned World War II munitions plant known locally as the TNT area. What they saw that night became one of the most famous monster stories in American history. The scary story told by Linda Scarberry says that they saw a creature that looked like a skinny, strong figure, about 7 feet tall with huge white wings. However, it wasn't the size that scared them, it was those eyes. There were glowing red orbs that seemed to hypnotize anyone who looked at them directly. Linda couldn't even make out the face of the thing. The witnesses said that this creature with wings followed their car all the way to the city borders of Point Pleasant. The first newspaper story with the unforgettable title, "Couples See Man-Sized Bird." Creature. Something came out the next day, November 16th, 1966, in the Point Pleasant Register. Nobody knew at the time that this was just the start of a 13-month rule of terror that would end in an unimaginable tragedy. A town under siege. The next thing that happened was unlike anything that Point Pleasant had ever seen or heard. Sightings didn't stop. They got even more common. Records from the past show that 22 Mothman sightings happened in West Virginia and Ohio in November 1966 alone. 10 more reports came in from West Virginia, Kentucky, and Ohio in December. It wasn't just a case of mass hysteria. People in more than one state were reporting the same facts about this winged terror. When volunteer firefighters in the area said they saw a large bird with red eyes, Mason County Sheriff George Johnson at first didn't believe them, thinking the witnesses must have just seen an extremely large heron. But as reports kept coming in all through 1967, in January, March, May, and November, people saw the same thing. It became impossible to ignore the trend. Each meeting had eerie similarities. A 7-foot-tall humanoid figure with 10-foot wings that could fly up to 100 miles per hour, and those unforgettable red eyes that seemed to be glowing. The creature seemed to like the TNT area, which was the site of an old weapons factory that had been turned into a maze of abandoned concrete igloos and overgrown bunkers. This empty land seemed to be the right setting for something that seemed to stand between our world and something much scarier. When the creature appeared, witnesses said they felt a strong sense of dread, as if it carried an aura of approaching doom. The red-eyed terror. The Mothman sightings were not just sightings. They were full-on supernatural events that terrified witnesses for life. People said the thing didn't just fly, it seemed to appear and disappear whenever it wanted. Some said it would sit on power lines or roofs and stare at people with its creepy red eyes before jumping into the sky at night with unimaginable speed and grace. What made these encounters scary was that the creature seemed smart. People who saw the Mothman said they felt like it was studying them, analyzing them with an otherworldly awareness that made them think of something much more complicated than a simple cryptid. Despite having dozens of different witnesses, the creature's physical description stayed surprisingly consistent. The Mothman was between 6 and 7 feet tall and had a strong humanoid body. His huge wings looked more like bat wings than bird wings. Its most noticeable feature was its glowing red eyes, which were scary not only because of their color, but also because of how big and bright they were. Witnesses said they were about the size of headlights and could shine their own creepy light, even when it was completely dark. The prophecy. On December 15th, 1967, 13 months to the day after the first sighting. During rush hour, the silver bridge that connected Point Pleasant, West Virginia, to Gallipolis, Ohio, fell apart out of the blue, sending 31 cars and 64 people into the cold Ohio River below. The disaster was terrible. 46 people died that day, and 2 bodies were never found. 9 other people were badly hurt. But what made this tragedy even scarier was that people stopped seeing the Mothman all of a sudden after the bridge fell. The scary creature that had been in the area for more than a year just disappeared, which led many people to think it had been a magical sign of the disaster that was coming. There was no way that the time could have been more perfect. The bridge collapsed just a few days before Christmas, when families were going to get together with their loved ones. Later, survivors like Ben Cedar said that people in the area had been worried for years about the bridge's stability because it would wave back and forth when there was a lot of traffic. When the Silver Bridge was built in 1928, an experimental I-bar suspension design was used instead of traditional cables to save money. This was a mistake that was just ready to go wrong. Theories and explanations. How the Mothman really looked like. Over the years, both researchers and skeptics have come up with a lot of different theories for this long-standing mystery. The most popular idea is that witnesses saw sandhill cranes or herons on their way to or from Africa. These birds can be up to 5 feet tall and have reddish circles around their eyes that can make them look like they're glowing in some lighting. Folklorist Jan Harold Brunvand found that surprisingly few written sources had identifiable witnesses, even though popular stories said that over 100 people had seen the Mothman. Joe Nickel, a skeptic, says that many sightings were fakes. For example, he says that building workers put flashlights on helium balloons to make fake UFO sightings. He also says that barred owls, which have a unique eye shine effect when they are caught in bright lights, might be to blame for some sightings. But these logical theories don't seem to be able to explain a few important things about the Mothman sightings. The creature's size, flight speed, and actions don't exactly match up with animals that live in the area. Also, the psychological effects on witnesses, many of whom were well-liked members of the community who had never lied before, indicate that they really did experience something special, even if it wasn't supernatural. In the past few years, sightings have continued. Around 2015, reports came in from the TNT area, and in June 2017, another sighting was reported in West Virginia. Whether these reports are real encounters, hoaxes, or mistaken identities, the Mothman continues to captivate people and serve as a warning that some mysteries are hard to solve. The Mothman is still one of America's most interesting cryptid stories because it blends real tragedy, eyewitness accounts, and psychological terror in ways that are still powerful after all these years. No matter if you believe in ghosts or prefer scientific explanations, the story of Point Pleasant's winged terror is a scary warning that in the shadows of Appalachia, the line between folklore and reality can become impossible to tell. So what do you think? Was the Mothman just a misunderstood creature, a warning from beyond, or something even stranger? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy exploring mysteries like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss any story like this. Thanks for watching.